Hey, everybody, welcome to MuscleTech Uncensored. We have an excellent guest today. You probably know him very well if you follow fitness in any form or fashion. He's health advocate, star of several TV shows so far, author of the best-selling book, Call Me Chef, Damn It, White House chef for 4 different administrations. A lot of other stuff going on, but let's welcome him to the show. Chef Rush, how are you, sir?
I am wonderful, sir. And you, always great to see you. Always great to be here.
Yeah, appreciate you saying that. There's a saying, never trust a skinny chef, which I kind of agree with, but I don't like to see chefs that are, portly and like obese, because that's unhealthy. You're the healthiest chef, just jacked. And have you always gotten that reaction when people find out that you're a chef and you look like this?
I always do. I mean, and skinny chef. I mean, I'm 275 right now, so I guess that is a little skinny. but
Skinny.
but no, it's kind of like that reaction figure where you talk about chefs and we get that stigma where like we're big and we're fat and we eat sloppy and so forth. And I want to get rid of that stigma and let everybody know, especially men, which a lot of the men that follow me, they're like, oh, chef, I love to cook and also stay healthy. So that's what it's about. You got to build representation. So I get the reaction, whether it be in the White House, with military, with kids, wearing my chef outfits. I did my TV show the same way, so I can represent correctly and, just profile.
Yeah, just so people can start watching you on TV today. I know on Tubi you had a whole season of your own show called Kitchen Commando, and I didn't realize, because I don't watch cooking shows, I'm sorry. Master Chef, you were actually a guest chef on that with Gordon Ramsay, who you must know pretty well because he produced your show too.
Yeah, he produced my show. Been known him for a few years. That's Kitchen Commando, but I just did the last season of Master Chef, and it was in true honor. I always salute and represent the military, so we did a gourmet MRE. So we made it gourmet, and it was an amazing episode. One of the highest ones they had.
Yeah, because I've never been in the military, but a lot of people in my family have friends, and they always talk. I've eaten MREs because I was in ROTC years ago. They were not something you'd want to eat. It's something to basically just to keep you alive, so you can stay out there in the combat situations.
Keep you alive, your calorie intake, caloric intake, and that's it.
Yeah, not the Jewish food. So let's go and just dip into a little bit of your background, because I don't think a lot of people realize just how far this goes. You were a standout athlete back in the day. You were a running back, a track star, and then U.S. Army. So, man, you're not just you didn't serve just in peacetime. You served while we were in several major conflicts. So, where were some of the places you were deployed? I know Iraq was one of them.
So Iraq, Afghanistan, and of course, I don't know if you knew, but I also was at 9/11 when the plane hit in the Pentagon.
I did.
So went there twice, the other place twice, and also around other places I've been. So it was my job, no matter where I was, that I wanted to actually serve. I wanted to be in those locations. I wanted to be there and giving support, however support I can. I wasn't a chef while I was doing that. I was advun. I was, part of the details, and I did a lot of other things. So cooking was just my expertise as a hobby. I just became extremely great at it. I was on an Olympic team. I competed for the USA, got hundreds of medals, trophies from all over. So best ice carver, competed at that level, just a lot of different things. I just love cooking because it just made me feel at home with my mom in Mississippi, and just kind of took it to the next level.
Yeah, and I see from a press release that MuscleTech put out last year, 2 very, very different things that you trained soldiers for. Culinary services, we would have kind of figured that, but hand-to-hand combat, you trained over 1,000 troops in that and 10,000 troops in culinary arts. Was that at the same time, or was that different times?
Kind of at the same time. I was kind of like a Mr. Rogers. You do one job in the daytime, and the next time you're this whole different person. I like to combine both because, as far as the cooks in the military, they get downplayed a little bit as a cook. They don't do anything, yada, yada. So my thing was to let them know that you can be whatever you want to be and enjoy your lifestyle, but also have the representation of what you're serving and who you are, not only for the military, but as yourself. Combat the things that we need to know and how to know, especially for the women in the world, especially nowadays. They need to know some techniques and some things that they're going to be doing. I actually just did a contract with guns.com, to recently when I was at the SHOT Show. And one of those things was to let people know about safety, security, and the old stigmas that they had along with people. I am the military. I'm a combat guy. But also with this day and age, you have to be acute and aware and just say, hey, nothing's going to happen to me. You have to know all the rules, especially for you, the women, and your kids.
Yeah. So you haven't been active duty for many years now. I'm guessing it's probably been about 20 years or more, but you still stay very, very active supporting. You're known, one of the things you're most famous for, beside those 24-inch arms, is this fitness routine of 2,222 push-ups every day. And that is in reference to it's roughly 22 veterans commit suicide every day. You're trying to keep awareness to that?
Yeah, unfortunately, 22 vets commit suicide a day. And that's my routine, is just my cause. And I say that because 22 vets a day, but I also caveat with their kids, the spouses, and then we made a universal cause, because not just in the military, with mental health and awareness, it's epidemic here in this world today. I was bullied when I was a kid, and I was a big guy, right? But I was also submissive on that part of it. And when someone sees you have a weakness to you, they're going to try to take advantage of that, and now with social media, which is amazing, but also you can have the finger warriors who can make you just feel like slum. And a lot of people get attacked and they don't know how to deal with that. So my job is to combat that and let them know, hey, it's okay to reach out. It's okay to talk. It's okay to be this way, that way. So that's literally my main foundation is about kids. I was just at the Fit Expo, and I swear to you, I think about 60% of my audience were kids that came in slews and lows, which I was most proud of.
Yeah, and you were just mentioned before we started recording, you've taken on a larger role with the suicide awareness. What was that? I couldn't quite recall exactly.
So USAA, which is a huge agency, they put up almost $52 million in the next 5 years to combat suicide. So I am the face of Face to Fight. WeFaceToFight.org, which is huge in just having people to reach out. What they do is they give them money, not trying to reinvent the wheel, but make sure they're vetted, to make sure that people are doing the right thing and how they're supposed to do, and just actually reach out. You have a lot of organizations, unfortunately, they say we're here for you, but it doesn't work out that way. And when people need help, they need help right then and there. They don't need help, say, call me back later. We'll talk about it. We'll figure it out. Because sometimes time doesn't work like that.
Yeah. Let's move on to the White House connection, because that's how we first heard of you, as the White House chef. Hey, saw this White House chef with these giant arms. Of course, all the bodybuilders in the world were intrigued immediately. It's like, wow, one of us is in the White House. But 4 different administrations. And then it occurred to me that 3 of those administrations the presidents were elected twice, 2 terms. So how much time in all were you working in the White House?
Oh, a lot. It was funny because you talked about the bodybuilders. I remember being in the White House very, very, very long time ago. And one bodybuilder walked through, and he was walking through the kitchen. So what we did was we made it all glass because it's part of the tour. And this bodybuilder walked through, and he was going through, and I look up, and he looks at me, and he walks, and he stops, and comes back in, and we do this, and it was Jay Cutler.
Wow.
That was a long time ago.
I didn't know he went to the White House ever. Wow.
Yeah, it was I don't know how the hell he got in there, but he was part of the tour. So it was pretty funny. It was pretty cool. I talked about that on his podcast. That was a very long time ago.
Wow. So I think most of us as Americans would be starstruck in the presence of the President of the United States of America. But you got to know, I would assume they probably knew you by name, by face. They saw you all the time. You've known 4 U.S. presidents, right? Wow.
Right.
Yeah, that's just staggering to me. And the 9/11 thing, that's, wow. You were in the Pentagon. How far were you? I mean, was there the noise, the confusion? I can't imagine. What was the first thing that happened where you knew something was really, really wrong? This was a catastrophe in taking place.
So I was in a radius. Unfortunately, I lost a lot of my gym buddies that we went to go at the POAC with, and it was unreal, surreal. It was just no one knew what was going on. How it was because you're in your own house, in your own comfort zone, and you never think something like that would happen. And I say and I repeat, and I'll always say it is 9/11 was the day the world changed forever. Nothing has been the same since then. Nothing can top what happened with 9/11. Unfortunately, we have, World War One, two, and all those other different things. But now you fast forward all these years later, and someone came into our homes and did that from afar. It is something that I remember and I pay homage to, and I let other people know because it's generations now don't even know what 9/11, what happened in 9/11. They have no idea whatsoever because the educational system is that they don't teach things like they used to teach things because there's so many things they say not to teach about or talk about.
Yeah, when I do the math, I realize how long ago that was now. That was 23 years ago.
That was 23 years ago.
And I'm 54. I don't know how old you are, but 20, that to me, it feels like yesterday. I'm sure to you, it doesn't seem like
it really, you said you hit on the head. It feels like yesterday. It feels like yesterday. And I didn't realize it. I just did a walk this past 9/11 last year and walking through the thing here in California. And I did a video with it with my buddy and it just went crazy. And I did a voiceover about it. And it gives me chill bumps to even think about it because it just had so many things that were in sight that happened. And I still hear about them to this very day.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't realize because, my kids are grown now, so I didn't realize they weren't covering it or mentioning it in like U.S. history classes or anything, but that's awful. That's a huge, we talk about Pearl Harbor and that was U.S. soil, but that was, 2,000 miles out in the ocean. That was not on our mainland, what we call the mainland soil here. But let's move on to the physique stuff because we're in a bodybuilding zone here. 275 pounds, very, very solid. I've seen you next to a lot of pros, and let me tell you, you're dwarfing a lot of them. Put it that way. Did you obviously, there was a myth about you that you only did push-ups, that you didn't do anything else for fitness. That was never. Obviously,
that's a myth. That's a big myth.
I mean, come on now. Although doing over 2,000 push-ups would take, how long would that take you? I'm just curious.
So under 2 hours, and people have to understand that I didn't just do it overnight. 22 vests a day. The caveat to that was we would do every month. There was a month where we would do 22 push-ups for the whole month for suicide awareness. And I'm like, that's nothing. To me, I'm a strategist, a logistician, meaning that that's not impactful enough. So I started doing 222, and that only took a couple minutes to do that, right? And I was like, that's still not impactful. So I came up with the idea to do the 2,222. But the caveat before that even happened was I was in two inpatients, and I was also an outpatient for, I have PTSD. I've opened up about that. I had a lot of things that happened to me in the military. And what I used to do during the break with all my guys, Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, that we'll have 15-minute break. And what I would do is say to the guys, you have in those 15 minutes, you have to do 500 push-ups, right? Mm-hmm. And the rest of the time, how quick as you do them, you can have a break in between. Nobody did that in time, but I did. And that was the way I kind of built up my endurance. So I was there for 6-7 months doing that over and over and over again. And I just built it up. Of course, with Care Guard, make sure that you're knowledgeable, not to hurt your wrist, not to be jerking, not to lock out. And people don't know that lactic acid, anytime, especially with us with egos, we can start jerking. And there you go. You got an injury. You know that.
Yeah. I saw in the trailer for Kitchen Commando on Tubi that you had the chefs at one point doing push-ups. I don't know if that was for punishment or for fitness or what.
Both. It was for punishment. Fitness is make you realize, to think about it. And I do it all the time. Even when I speak, I make corporate guys do it and tell them to get down, get out your comfort zone and get back to the norm. People are going to follow you when you do things unorthodox. And, me with fitness is my lifestyle. It's my lifeline, with being around you guys and being with, Dan Solomon, Jake Woods, Arnold Schwarzenegger, all those guys who have been implemented in my life and just impactful. And for me to be able to get back and represent the correct way with honor, respect, and duty, that's the most important thing to me.
Yeah. So, obviously you look like a super heavyweight bodybuilder, a pro bodybuilder. Have you always trained like a bodybuilder? Were you a fan of bodybuilding for most of your life? And did you ever think about competing?
So I was a fan of all my life. I'll be honest with you. Growing up in Mississippi in the projects, we didn't have any gyms. We had a YMCA that you had to pay for. I didn't have the money. I did construction with my dad. I played sports. We had a little bit of gym that had a couple weights in it in Mississippi. So I had nobody to feed off of or to lead off of because it wasn't that type of deal. I was always a fan, but I'm Mississippi. One day, my brother in the Navy, who was much older, brought home a book that was the encyclopedia. And when he went back, and I was young, I hid the book, kept the book, looked at all the pictures. Later on, I read everything that Arnold had wrote about it, and I kind of put that in. So I was doing a lot of body exercises, but I also did construction with my dad, which was the best exercise in the world because it was full body movement. So that's when I got into powerlifting, calisthenics. I got into doing endurance, which I am an endurance trainer right now. That's how I kind of keep my muscle memory, my physique, keep it solid. And kind of keep on. Of course, with my MuscleTech supplements and everything that I take, I care guard because it's just an ideal that I need more and more to be the way I am as I get older.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, it's funny you mentioned the construction business. You mentioned Jay Cutler a few minutes ago, and he had a very strong foundation I think from the age of 11 or 12 on, he was working for his brother's concrete business. Plus his family had a farm. So, that's the old American ideal, is the big farm boy or the big construction worker, muscles from real life work, not from lifting weights in a gym or something. But there is a lot to that.
No, I grew up on the farm. My dad made me do farm work. So that's my whole part of, I think it's the best thing ever. At first, I thought it was the worst thing ever, especially not being a kid, being able to do what you want to do. But as far as my foundation as work ethics, I'm 100. I'm grateful forever.
Awesome. How did you become part of MuscleTech? I'm so happy that you're part of the family because, to have someone of your caliber as part of the team is, everybody's proud to say, I'm a MuscleTech athlete, just like Chef Rush. So how did that happen?
It's funny, and I wear my MuscleTech. I want to represent them, and because they're family. And you said the key word. And I've had, companies reach out to me before. Something to me, it has to be energy. It has to be the whole part of it. And I said, I'm not the person that's going to be here to be a cookie cutter and say, hey, to do this, wave and no wave, or I'm going to be like, oh, no, that's all I'm supposed to do. I am here to be with them as a family and provide as much as I possibly can for them. And the reason why is because of them. Point blank, their loyalty, commitment, their family atmosphere, understanding, communication, think tanks, all those things are important to me. People don't understand it's not a monetary value for it. It's an emotional, it's personal, and a physical. And when I say that part of it means that I have to feel it inside and say, this is the right fit for me. And I've had ones that come and they win, and I'm just like, I don't feel them whatsoever. And I can't be a part of you, no matter what you're offering, what you're doing. That's just my ethics now. I have to be able to, I can't do the things that I'm doing out in public, and I'm everywhere all the time. I've already been on 16 flights, and I'll be on a flight in the morning, and I'll be on another flight in next week to Korea for a month. And I did 500,000 miles last year. And it's crazy because at that whole time, I have to still represent. I have to represent them as their representation of me. But I'm so honored and proud to be with them because they're just stellar. I mean, they're just stellar. I don't have anything against any other brands or whatnot, but for me, MuscleTech was my brand that I wanted to stick with and be with.
Yeah, it seemed like you formed a very instantaneous bond with Blessing Awodibu, another great MuscleTech athlete. You guys have done some hilarious collaborations on videos and on social media together. Did you guys hit it off immediately? Because the stuff, it looks like when I see you guys interacting, it's like you've known each other forever.
It's funny. The first time Blessing flew down here to do some videos, and we said the exact same thing. It was like, man, we did these videos, bam, 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 perfect. I mean, he was like, bro, we got to do this again. So the first video we did was like at 100 million. Then we came back and did another one and another one. And they were like, you guys, we just marry so well. And you don't get that energy from a lot of people. And I do videos all the time. I mean, with the biggest content creators actually in the world. And, I'm proud because if you go look at the biggest content creators I've done videos with, and their most popular, I'm on all their most popular. You talking about 600, 700 million for each person. And it's me and my face. And it says something about you and who you are. Is you have to be able to be a chameleon and be able to fit into each category. And fortunately, knock on wood, I can fit into a lot of categories. So with Blessing, it just makes sense. And so we plan on doing a lot more stuff, even bigger and better and more creative.
Yeah, because on your own, each one of you is a larger than life personality already. And when you put it together, it's like a nuclear reaction. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's like unstoppable force.
Yeah, man. I've seen this. This is a weird question, but you have this Girka knife all the time.
Yeah.
Is that what it's called? A Girka knife?
It's a cookery.
Yeah.
Right?
Is that an actual cooking implement, or is that something that you just picked up overseas one time?
No, I didn't just pick it up. It was actually gifted to me from the Girkas, from Nepal. So when I was over in Iraq, some years ago, I trained with the Girkas. We did things. We fought together. We did a bunch of different things. And so it was given to me in honor. And so I honor it by showing off. And they love it. They're like, oh, my God, you got the actual run, because it's stamped, it's labeled, it's, bronze. It's a real deal, not a knockoff. Not a replica. I'm actually doing some replicas of the knife now for distribution because so many people ask about it.
Yeah.
But I'll never cook with a knife. I just slam it down. Just let everybody know I'm a chef, damn it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny. It's funny. When we were setting up this interview, I called you by your first name. I won't say it, but you asked me not to. And now I realize, Ron, you moron. Everything, his book even says, call me chef, damn it. And the shirts always say, call me chef, damn it. So chef it is.
Well, what's funny was Arnold, when Arnold first reached out to me, and Arnold called me, he's like, the chef, And, I'm like, starstruck and everything, call me by my first name. And, and Arnold was like, you're the chef. You will always be the chef, right? Yeah, that is who you are. It's kind of like I tell people, and it's crazy how many been in this world now when I say, what's The Rock's name? The Rock, that's his brand. That's who he is. Because if you tag or hashtag The Rock, millions and millions. If you hashtag Dwayne Johnson, it's like, oh, okay. The same with my name, Chef Rush, everywhere. My first name, nowhere.
Right. That's a great point. I mean, you worked very, very long and hard to build this brand and this identity. So I would keep that just the way it is too. Speaking of MuscleTech again, I've seen you do some cool things. You did for Christmas, you made a white chocolate raspberry ripple hot chocolate. Have you experimented with other things to use the powders or the other products for MuscleTech for?
Oh yeah, I've done so many, from the churros to the dulce leche. I got so many plans for MuscleTech. We're doing stuff, and the funny thing about it is things like I made the gummy bears, right? With the Uzi. I made the gummies, put the whole part of it, made it when you put them in a jar where you can pop them. And people are like, wow, you can do that? It's not the typical like cooking videos that you'll see with a fitness brand, and I'll be honest with you, nobody can do it like I do it. Can live and talk and walk the walk, to look the way, to do it and put things that will just make sense, from the brownies to the cookies to the smoothies to the whole parts of it. That's why it's so fun to be able to do it. Even with me and Blessing, we did this swirl rose thing where we were just throwing everything everywhere, and it was crazy, but everybody loves it. And there's a real actual recipes where I actually take from it and show you how to do it and make it fun, and make it feasible for you. So yeah, I got a lot more plans. And that's what I love about MuscleTech. They got so many crazy flavors, right? So many crazy things. And my whole shelf is just MuscleTech right now.
Wow. Yeah. What is give me like top 3 favorite flavors for the protein powder, the NitroTech?
For the protein powder, I love the churros. Churros are really great. I'm still also a cookie and cream guy. I'm not gonna lie to you on that part of it. Okay. And what was the other one?
Dulce de leche.
Dolce is crazy. I mean, that's probably my top one.
Yeah.
Because I've been a fan of that forever. Because it's so simple, but to put into a dessert, the dessert I made of it was just crazy.
Yeah, I mean that's what it is in the Latin American community. Dulce de leche is the dessert.
Yeah,
so it makes sense. I always wondered why doesn't Chef Rush have a cookbook? And I guess you have one coming soon. Tell me about that.
I'm having one coming soon, and I was supposed to have had it before. HarperCollins did my Call Me Chef book, And, you know, it was just a lot. And I'm not gonna lie to you, I'm pulled so many different ways. So doing the cookbook now, I have to put everything in order, do it. It has to make sense for me. I want something that everybody else will want and not put my ego in the way and just say, oh, I'm Chef Rush, I can do this and this and this. I want something that's gonna be feasible. And the highest selling cookbooks, when I say when I say selling, meaning that what people want is going to be fitness. It's always about fitness. And you got to think about it, especially this day and age with so many things with fast food, this food, that food, and trying to understand it is becoming more and more lacking. So that's why it's more important for us to give that knowledge base of what you should eat, how you should eat, and when you should eat. So that's important to me. So it should be out about next year.
Okay. Because, you know, there's this misconception among the general public that to eat healthy means you have to eat very bland, tasteless food. You know, they're thinking about like plain chicken breasts and sprigs of broccoli and all this. They don't believe that you can eat healthy food that tastes really good. Is that what you plan to do with your cookbook?
That's exactly what I plan to do. I also just I'm launching an AI app that's food related as well. That's also mental health related, where you can talk to yourself about yourself, called Self Reflect, but also where it's about Grub, where I can tell you personally in my name, in my voice, what you should eat, how you should eat, and what you should do, right? Me personally, I love to eat. I'm not going to lie to you. I eat a lot. And because I travel so much, it's not always, you know, cut and dry, and sometimes unorthodox. But when I do cook, I go right from the ground, pull in my herbs, my spices, low sodium to no sodium. I use water base for my sauces when I deglaze. I don't use any other substitutes or whatnot. And I have a huge flavor palette, and I mostly feed off of Latin and Asian profiles because it is the most advanced in as far as mixology of spices that you could possibly ever have, because it's so diverse on that part. You know, from going from, you know, Brazil to Korea to Japan to all these places that I've been to and going back to, and just eating, I appreciate the food, the culture, and the people, because it teaches me so much more about not only my body, my flavor profiles, my palates, but also about the cultures and what I can give and show other people and how to use it.
And I'm assuming you can find you can make healthier versions of a lot of the dishes that they've traditionally been eating.
And one of the things I've also done, I'm from Mississippi, so it's the unhealthiest state, and it's a lot. I mean, but it's comfort food, you know. So what I did, even on my shows, was I turned all of the food, like the Southern food, into healthy versions of it. Oh. And literally people were like, okay, this is the same thing, but no, it's not. It's actually just a healthier version with 90% less of sodiums, all of the bad stuff taken out of it.
Okay. So you've been on a couple TV shows, but my goodness, you should be on TV all the time, I think. So is there anything you can mention that you're working on there that's in store to see more of you on streaming services or networks or anything like that?
I'm working on something right now. I just signed with a person that people probably know. First initial is K, last initial is Heart. So we got something really big coming up. I also got another show that's going to be coming out this year about me, and we got a huge person that's playing me. I can't say who that is, but it's going to be you. You think about somebody I know. That's what the guy said. He's like, "Who can we get to play chef?" But when you see him, you'll know. Like, who else, right? And and then I have some competitions, and I'm getting ready to go to Korea to do 2 Netflix shows. One's a zombie, and one is a cooking show, kind of based off of the Physical 100. So it'll be pretty fun.
And now I'm going to be racking my brain trying to think of who could play you. Idris Elba would be great, but he's not big enough. I mean, he's a good-looking dude, but physically, I can't think of an actor that's got that much. I know they don't have to be. I've seen plenty of actors like what's this Kerry Von Erich movie?
Okay, yeah.
What's that kid's name? That
it'll pop to you once you hang up. I guarantee.
But he's nowhere near the size of Kerry Von Erich. But still, I think from the trailers, it looks like he did a great job. Well, I'll watch that. Whoever ends up playing you for sure. So I'm going to wrap it up because I know you're a very busy guy and you're doing this on Pacific time in the East. He started us at 7 a.m, guys. I mean, I'm just curious, how much sleep do you typically get? Because you seem like you have so much going on.
I got up yesterday morning, the morning before. I got up this morning at 2. So I get up at 2 or 3, kind of get my day started. And you got to understand that I'm working off of East Coast, West Coast, overseas. I tell people because I'm here in the West Coast more often, I'm already 3 hours behind time. So my 2 o'clock is 5 o'clock somewhere else, and my 5 o'clock is already 8 o'clock. So I have to be ahead of the game because my emails are already filled up. I'm not a micromanager, but I love to manage and micro everything that's going on because I know how to leverage it as quick as possible because I do everything in a 72-hour rule, meaning let's hurry up and get it done.
Man. So guys, if you want to follow Chef Rush, and a lot of you already do because he's got 2 million followers on Instagram, it is Real Chef Rush. Check him out. See what he's up to. I just saw you you're in LA. I saw you at Gold's Venice. I saw you cooking with a meal for Michael Hearn and a bunch of your buddies out there. It looked delicious. Some sort of beef stuff. I don't know. It looked good, whatever it was. But, man, bless you, man. You were doing such a tremendous job spreading the word of fitness while trying to get people, inspiring people with just the way you look, because let's be real, people respond a lot more favorably to someone who's, just has that heroic look to them. They will listen, especially young people. They'll gravitate toward that. There's an instant sort of respect that you get when you have that physical presence like you do. And, you're using it to the best of your abilities for so many good causes. So, we're grateful that you're part of the MuscleTech family, and just grateful, all of us in the fitness community, we're so grateful to have you as part of us because, you really shine a light on us and give us an audience and an access to a whole other realm of people that we never would have had access to.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm honored to be here.
Cool. Well, thank you so much, Chef Rush. You got more going on today and for the next coming weeks and forever and ever. So follow him on social media to see what's up with Chef Rush at The Real Chef Rush. And of course, MuscleTech Instagram. We also have all kinds of good news on there and on this YouTube channel. Subscribe, like, and share. So that's it. Thanks everybody for watching this episode of MuscleTech Uncensored with the only Real Chef Rush. We'll see you next time.